In this video, I'll be walking you through how to use Clay together with a tool called Octave so that you can finally be able to personalize cold outreach messaging at scale using AI without over-relying on static templates that you probably used for the last couple of decades. Now, essentially, all it starts with is you going to octavehq.com, which is the website, and after that, you can just take this tool out for a test drive. For context, this tool also helps you to research leads, qualify accounts, and it creates AI agents. But for the purpose of this video, just solely focusing on the AI copywriting capabilities. So in other words, how good is it being able to generate LinkedIn messages and emails that are personalized for each individual prospect, and so that you can just plug this into Clay without having to go through a bunch of random Clay enrichments to do the research and then personalize each individual message. So all we will do is we'll start with a free trial. As soon as you are inside of Octave, you can basically onboard, and then whenever you onboard, you would just fill in a bunch of questions in a questionnaire. It will take you about 5, maybe 7 minutes to do that. But as soon as you're inside, so let's say you sign up for an account and complete the onboarding steps, you can then go over here on the left side where it says library. And in the library over here, you will see the products. These are the different products and services that you can add here so that this AI copywriter gets trained on your product and service offering, understanding the benefits, the pain points of your customers, and what the product's all about. You can then add the personas here as well. So if you click on personas, you can add new personas as well. This will enable you, obviously, to tailor the messaging to all the different personas that you're going after. And if I scroll down over here more than that, you also have the different use cases. So for example, if you have, let's say, a SaaS tool which helps you to automate lead qualification, that would be one use case. If you want to help, if you have multiple different use cases for the way that your product or service is used, you can just create a bunch of use cases as well. More than that, you can add some reference customers. This will be the kind of customers that you can name drop in your outreach. You can also add segments like mid-market, enterprise, whatever, just so that Octave picks up on the different segments and it can basically tailor the messaging based on the segment of the of the prospects that you're reaching out to. You can also add competitors. So specifically, who are the competitors that are in your market. You can also add some proof points, which is social proof that will be mentioned in the outreach. As soon as you edit the products, personas, and so on, once again, if I just show you how to do that, let's say you click on personas, you will just click on add new. You can add a persona. You can add it to your organization. Just give it a name. You can give a bunch of context with text. So you can type in all the details about the persona. You can also even upload stuff from Google Drive if you want. If you have a bunch of Google Docs with all the explanations about the persona. And generally, I think this is what most companies that sell into enterprise, I think most of them would end up using Octave, because it seems like quite a nice way to centralize all of this different personalizations and so on, so that you can just basically have one knowledge database for everything to do with your copywriting for your target customers. So after you're set up with all of this, if we go back into this checklist, we should have edited the products, the personas, the use cases, all that boring stuff. And then after that, we're able to create a playbook. So the playbooks are on the left-hand side over here. You can click on add new playbook. You would select the products that you want to sell. So in this case, I'm not really spoiled for choice here. All I've got is my B2B boosted agency product over here. You can choose the angle of attack. In other words, how do you want to come across in the messaging? Do you want it to be very much about, pitching your solution as, something that helps with some headaches? Is it a trigger related message that you want to send? Is it a message around how you guys are better than a competitor that this company uses? Once again, it's completely up to you which one you choose. In this case, I'm just going to choose solution and click on continue. It will also ask you to choose the focal point of the playbook. I believe this is something like the actual trigger, or what does every single prospect in this hit list that you're going after, what do they all have in common? So for example, in this case, we can say that it's professional services firms struggling with inconsistent lead gen or whatever it is. This is just a silly example here. You can then add key insights. Once again, I'm just going to rely on AI over here. And the key insights will just basically educate the AI copywriter on all of this boring stuff. But the bottom line is, I know you probably right now just want to see what the final email copy looks like, but this is essential to be set up first before you can see pretty decent copywriting. After that, pick the personas to create messaging for. Here we just, all I've got is one persona, which is the founder. And then the use cases, we'll just pitch them behavioral trigger outreach or something like that, right? We can then click on continue and then just click on generate playbook. So the whole idea behind this, as you can tell, it does require quite a bit of onboarding. Maybe if you do this thoughtfully, it will take you like half an hour in total, which is definitely, if you're testing out a bunch of tools on a free trial, it's a bit too long to test out. But in the meantime, we created a playbook and hopefully this will be created in a second. And then after that, on the left-hand side, I'll go into the styles and I'll create a new style. Over here, the writing style just basically will tell our AI copywriter how we want to write those emails or LinkedIn messages. I'll just call this Tim's casual tone. The reading level will be that of an 8th grader. The tone will be very casual. And then I think the length will be short, 50 to 70 words, average sentence, 5 words, average paragraphs, 3 paragraphs. We will apply a CTA to all emails. In other words, we'll have a call to action in every email. And then also we can always add an example email over here. Now, the thing that I would really encourage you is where it says methodology, change Octave to custom instructions, because this will enable you to give it custom instructions just like you would with ChatGPT otherwise. And in this case, I'm just going to copy and paste these custom instructions over here. This is just like an example of a random email that I wrote before. So I'm just going to click that and click on create. Once again, you can play around with it more. The custom instructions here could just explain the kind of angle that you want to approach with, the kind of like any sort of observations that you want to find about the prospect or anything of that sort. And then you can click on create. So right now we would say writing style saved, and we're almost halfway through this. And the final step will be to create an agent. The way that we will create an agent is if you go to the left-hand side over here and click on agents, you can click on build new agent, and this will give you all the different options. For the purpose of just personalizing outreach, all we need is the sequence agent. So we will click on that. We can select cold outbound as the approach. We'll select just one step because obviously we just want to send one email to test this out. And then once again, for custom instructions, we can add the custom instructions. And I'm just going to add this because this is just more or less the structure of an email that I want to see. I want to start with like greeting the prospects. I want them to have a non-obvious personalization referencing whatever. And then I want to offer them a free mini course, just teaching them Clay. And then in the call to action, I want to basically offer that free mini course. So that's basically that. It's not going to be much more complicated than this. And then as soon as we're happy with it, we can then click on save agent. And then I'm just going to click on save over here. What we've done up to this point is we've created end-to-end the entire playbook, and we created an agent, meaning that it's super quick from now on for us to be able to use this agent inside of Clay. So if we want to use it inside of Clay, we can just click on use in Clay in the top right-hand corner, and we will see the API key and the agent ID. By the way, I know you can see these for my account right now, and I don't really have plans of, topping up my credits in my free trial account. So yeah, obviously if you use those, I don't think it will work too well. But essentially all you'll do inside of Clay to be able to try personalizing using, the frameworks that you just created inside of Octave is you'll click on add enrichment in the top right corner. You'll type in HTTP API and it will hopefully appear in front of you faster than this. Click on that, click on browse templates. And then over here, you can type in Octave agent, and it will be the Octave sequence agent. And then you just need to basically fill in the job titles or whatever else, like job title, company website, company name, first name, and then click on apply template. The only two things that you would need to change in order to make this work is, first of all, you'll copy your API key, and you will copy your API key to be at the bottom here, and you will copy your agent ID to be in place of this agent ID, insert agent ID here part. So we'll copy and paste it there. And then we can click on save and don't run. And what this will basically do, if we click on play now, is it will go into Octave, use those frameworks that we've just created for this persona, and it will come up with this copywriting thing for using the one email framework that we created for this specific agent. So let's give it a couple of seconds. For context as well, whilst this is loading, let me just explain something to you. This means that all you need to do before using Octave is just finding the email of the prospect, because Octave does all the deep research. So Octave can go and visit the websites, the LinkedIn profiles, read the news, find the signals, find the triggers. It can do everything as long as you tell it what you want done inside of the Octave settings that we've set up during the onboarding. Finally, we can then click on status code 200, click on the data, click on the emails, and it will come up over here with the email. So I'll add this column as an email. This will be the subject line of the email. And then of course, at the bottom here, we have the persona. So the founder, it gives us a match analysis. And then it just says, hey, this person matches the founder persona, their involvement in building and leading a tech startup focused on sales intelligence. But basically over here, Octave does not just personalize the message, it also helps us to categorize it based on multiple different personas that we have. It also gives you qualifying questions that it came up with to determine what persona this person falls into. And I know what you're thinking, like, hey, this is a bit over the top. Like, it also talks about what product is the best fit for them based on like everything that we taught. Octave, it also talks about the playbook. So like which one of the many playbooks that we've created will be the best fit. And then it also gives us the main thing that we're after here is just the email, right? So let's read the email subject line, prioritizing high intent prospects. And to be honest, the email itself will be absolute gibberish right now because I gave it really rubbish instructions in the first place. So let's not judge it. But in the meantime, let's just give it a read. Hey Max, your move from leading autonomous predictive intelligence and cell intelligence to building Trigify's AI-driven social signal platform shows a sharp focus on real-time data shaping GTM strategies. That kind of shifts highlight how critical it is to automate prospecting workflows effectively. I'm reaching out with a free mini course on Clay designed to help teams like yours integrate advanced automation into their sales process. It's a quick way to see if Clay could fit with Trigify's approach without any upfront commitment. Would you like me to send me the mini course your way? Once again, given that I've given it zero context, I believe that this is a solid 6 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10 email. And yes, this is somewhat formal. This is way too formal. Like no one says highlights in the opening line of an email. But once again, we can go back and we can train up this AI copywriting assistant to basically learn that from us. And then afterwards, we can just save this as a template. And next time, let me just find it, Octave Agent 1. Let me just do that quickly. And next time, all you would need to do is just go into HTTP API, click here, click on Browse Templates, Octave Agent 1, input all of these details, and within a couple of seconds, after you obviously prompted better and so on, it's able to do all of this for you. And no, you don't need to rely on endless different enrichments to find the triggers and signals and all of that boring stuff. Inside of Clay, you wouldn't need to go and buy a bunch of different other tools. All you would need pretty much is just an email finding tool to find the email of the person. Teach Octave how to actually do what kind of research you want done, what kind of copywriting you want done, and just go through a bit of trial and error just with prompting it a bit better inside of the frameworks, inside of the playbooks and the library here. And I guarantee you would arrive at a messaging which mimics what your current sales team is sending manually otherwise. And you can do this at scale, and it wouldn't really cost you an arm and a leg as well. Now, there is just one thing on Octave that I just thought is quite important to take a note of, and that's the price. So realistically, the pricing starts at $149. That includes 4,000 credits. But once again, you can spend like 4 credits on one person's emails. So that way you can basically personalize emails to 1,000 people for $150. So yes, some of you would be saying, oh, that's quite expensive, can't afford that, can't justify that. But in that case, just pin this video and reference it in 2 months' time when the cost of AI credits goes down by like 50%, like it does with any new AI model. And come back to this and it will probably be $75. So once again, this is a high-level summary of how to use Octave with Clay. I hope you found it useful. If you have, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like this video. Just comment Octave down below if you even watched this far, because it's quite interesting to see how far people make through the videos. And if you want the checklist, it will be linked down below. And of course, it would be quite rude of me not to remind you that I run the best Clay course in the market, which is called Clay. Limited time only, it's still £100. So that's $120, I believe, half the price of most of the other Clay courses on the market. So before I push up the prices, go check it out, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.